Hello, dear friends. Have you ever needed a restart, like your computer? A change to wipe the slate clean and approach things from a new perspective? This is a little more than setting goals to try harder or be better. A restart allows us to change direction when we feel we are off course. It gets us back on track when we've gone off the rails. Sometimes, to move forward, we need to step back a bit and remember where we wanted to go in the first place. There are many things we can't change, but we can always readjust our hearts to find more room for love, forgiveness, and compassion, with the determination to do better. Opinion piece. Gold standard forward. Announcement expectations. Signs of a financial restart. Bullion investment on the rise. The crisis generates a paradigm shift. It's only a matter of time before gold rises. Runaway inflation is the mother of all bubbles. The West goes on buying Russian oil on the black market. Venezuela and Iraq are only two countries that do not comply with ISO 20022. This ISO is a standard for electronic exchange of financial data. Digital currencies could be backed by gold according to Kitco News. Let's start. Gold and silver investors woke up on Monday to good news, as the price of gold once again brushed the $2,000 a troy ounce mark. 48 years after the abolition of the gold standard, we see signs of its revival. The reasons are easily explained. While the world economy is rocked by crisis and trade wars, the yellow metal is steadily moving upwards. Gold investors bet against the Fed as war threatens paradigm shift. Gold is proving remarkably resilient, gaining nearly 7% this year as investors shrug off rising real yields and a strengthening dollar to focus on political and economic risk. In just 1 month, the global economy has gone from showing signs of stagnant growth to providing strong evidence that the economy has resumed contracting. The news dovetails with more official views from the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, as both institutions lowered global growth estimates, although neither predicted a recession. It is only a matter of time before gold rises 5 times or more, according to Lawrence Lepard, who offers a summary on the history of monetary policy. While traditional yield and currency factors suggest that bullion is overvalued, demand for the safe haven asset remains strong. That's because gold buyers who accumulate exchange-traded funds have a pessimistic view of the Fed's ability to cool decades high inflation without damaging the economy. For them, gold is a hedge against sky-high prices and low growth. Increased political uncertainty in the wake of the Ukraine war is also driving a strategic portfolio diversification by investors. The global economy outlook remains murky as the recovery from the crisis is tempered by the war and China's continued battle against the crisis. Any escalation in the conflict could further burnish gold's appeal. The war in Ukraine has led to fundamental questions about Europe's dependence on Russian energy and the geopolitical stability of the continent. It has also pushed commodity prices significantly higher, exacerbating above-target inflation and creating a serious risk of the anchoring long-term expectations. The first bank to forecast the recession is now warning us to prepare for a hard landing. Buckle up. Fasten your seatbelts. Sanctions on Russia could also portend a larger shift that is driving the Bullion. Influential analysts such as Zoltan Pozsar of Credit Suisse Group predict that the seizure of about half of the Russian central bank's foreign exchange reserves will result in a new monetary paradigm where gold plays a bigger role. On Wednesday, gold was up to 0.08% to 1,951.5 an ounce at 2:42 p.m. in New York after trading between a 0.3% gain and a 0.5% loss earlier. Bullion for June delivery fell 0.2% to close at 1,955.60 on the COMEX. Silver has little changed, while platinum fell. Advanced palladium. Reset news. Confirmation of what is happening will be revealed to the public and not openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in large numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest of senior public officials. False leaks have been made to hold several within bounds to avoid extradition. However, the atmosphere will be divided, as many have fallen for the narrative that has been passed down for a longer time. Second, on Wednesday, April 20, Charlie Watt, head of the Global Currency Reset the Redemption Committee, announced that he had been informed that Wells Fargo Bank received Fed codes for accessibility to funds. Third, the Fed now expects China to announce its gold holdings in Beijing at some point. This will grant the Chinese yuan full access to the IMF's basket of global reserve currencies, known as special drawing rights, which will imply a revaluation of the yuan. What China has not yet done is to publicly announce its gold backing. 4. This subtop press release will automatically invoke the gold standard embodied in the United Nations Paris Agreement. This was expected to be simultaneously ratified and initiate our final disclosure protocols for global currency redefinition and currency revaluation. 5. The quantum financial system will be activated in primary banking worldwide, bringing with it the rule of law, an end to usury and any of the backdoor acts, while the QFS tracks the movement of money as well as the rights and wrongs of people using it. It also ensures that perpetrators are arrested quickly. 6. The phrase global asset buyback program registered with rescue describes the transition from fiat currency to ISO 20022 digital currency. The only two non-ISO compliant countries are Venezuela and Iraq. They announced that they are gold-backed and have digital currencies. We are just waiting for this ISO compliance. When these two countries are confirmed, the revaluation of currencies will start. 7. ISO 20022 is standard for electronic data interchange between financial institutions. It describes a metadata repository containing descriptions of messages and business processes, and a maintenance process for their repository content. The standard covers financial information transferred between financial institutions, including payment transactions, securities trading and settlement information, credit and debit card transactions, and other financial information. 8. Media outlets were ordered to begin 10 days of disclosure containing actual news events, no longer called 10 days of darkness, or they would lose their broadcast licenses, according to Bruce. Asia. First, China buys cheap Russian coal while the world shuns Moscow. Second, Could It Get Worse Before It Gets Better by Steve Biko. Glenn Beck has broadcast images of many people in Shanghai jumping from balconies and apartment windows. Third, the Chinese communists are destroying private gardens, and US railroads are stopping the shipment of grain and fertilizer. None of this makes any sense unless the communists want to starve their own people. In recent days, there have been several news reports of some railroads cutting grain shipments with the excuse that they are trying to control grain shortages. Fourth, 8-hour blackouts hit India after hottest March on record. An already sweltering summer and an acute coal shortage are triggering blackouts in parts of India, raising fears of a new energy crisis that could hit Asia's third largest economy, Americas. Bill Halter confirms global economic collapse and restart to the gold standard in the Economic Times. Second, Canada has closed all chicken farms due to bird flu. Third, Biden and Macron are going at the same time and the French election is on Sunday. Fourth, US mortgage interest rates hit a 12-year high. 5. As Azure Standard was the largest independent food distributor in the US. On the morning of April 20th, the company's headquarters was completely destroyed by a mysterious overnight fire. 6. Repo madness goes hyperbolic according to the nomadic economist. The Fed admits it already injected over $6 billion in 6 weeks. This is going exponential. Imagine what the real numbers are, just to keep banks from paying slightly elevated rates for overnight money. 7. Netflix stock plummets more than 30% at the open. Netflix lost 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2022. The company said it expects to lose another 2 million subscribers in the second quarter of 2022. Elon Musk tweeted that, in quotes, that the waking mind virus is making Netflix unwatchable. 8. IMF downgrades global growth and the stock market takes off, according to Gregory Manarino. 9. JP Morgan warns that the energy crisis will require billions in financing. 10. The inflation monster may devastate Japan first, according to Peter Schiff. 11. The Fed may need to be even more aggressive in fighting inflation as household cash outpaces debt for the first time in 3 decades, warns Deutsche Bank. 12. Raging inflation is the mother of all bubbles, according to Mike Maloney. In quotes, right now, the stock markets are all in a bubble. Real estate is in a bubble. They are out of sync with the rest of the economy. The free market will match this through raging inflation or the massive deflation of a stock market crash. 13. National French Fry Day. National Cheddar French Fry Day, celebrated annually on April 20, was started by a Texas restaurant in 2016 to promote one of its unique dishes. The restaurant wanted to set aside the day to celebrate the combination of crispy fries and cheddar cheese. 14. Brazil ready to show off its prowess in the paper airplane World Cup after the final was played this Monday in Rio de Janeiro. 15. Guatemala received almost 47,000 Salvadorans during Holy Week. 16. Consent in Ecuador over money collection network involving police officers. 17. The IMF forecast that Latin America will close 2022 with an average deficit of 4.7%. Spain. Spain doubles the shipment of war weapons to Ukraine. Sanchez announces the shipment of more armaments after his meeting with Zelensky. Second, the IMF estimates that Spain will close 2022 with a deficit of 5.3%. Third, Renfe transported more than 1.5 million passengers during Easter week. 4. Algeria demands clarification from Spain, in quotes, to rebuild the damaged confidence. 5. Morocco finds oil in 2 wells off the coast of Tarfaya and Ifni near the Canary Islands. Europe. First, the Guindos also sees a possible interest rate hike in July. Second, European gas closes at the lowest level since the start of the war in Ukraine. Third, the West continues to buy Russian oil, but it is now more difficult to trace. A black market is forming to obscure the origin of Russian oil as more tankers are loaded without a precise destination. We are back to extraperlo. It is to say the clandestine trade in state-controlled or taxed pieces. 4. The IMF doesn't expect a recession in Europe, but it does expect worse forecasts because of the war. 5. France hopes to convince the European Union to apply an embargo on Russian oil. 6. Germany industry fears immediate gas ban in Russia. Ukraine. First, Ukrainian refugees already exceed the 5 million mark according to ACNUR or UNHCR. In addition, another 7 million have become internally displaced persons. Second, 1/3 of Ukraine's farmland may go unplanted as Russia begins the second phase of the war. More bad news for the world's food supply. Third, Russia hands Ukraine a settlement proposal and awaits Kiev's response. 4. War in Ukraine causes Credit Suisse to lose 194 million by March. Russia. Putin says that the West will not be able to replace Russian energy supplies. Second, panicked Russians withdraw $9.8 billion from banks in March. Third, Russia offers oil quickly, hinting a long-term commercial impact. Russia's giant state-owned oil producer, Rosneft, surprised traders in Europe and Asia with offers to sell large quantities of crude quickly, as well as setting out significant changes to the payment process for some of the cargoes. 4. Russia touts an alternative to SWIFT, but will keep its members secret to avoid retaliation. Cryptocurrencies. First, digital currencies could be backed by gold according to Kitco News. Second, Bitcoin fell more than 3% on Monday and traded below $40,000. Third, why Bitcoin could be about to fall further according to David Hollerith. Under monetary tightening pressures from central banks, Bitcoin is trading like an overvalued tech stock, as one analyst noted. That could mean underperformance over the next few months. 4. Bitcoin, Ethereum and Dogecoin recover key levels. 5. Ethereum and its price. It could reach $12,000 by 2022. 6. Cryptocurrencies could be less anonymous and more centralized than thought, says an expert. 7. Secret Service seizes more than $102 million in crypto assets. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.